electronics from the most extreme wrestling, and this is your AEW Dynamite review for April 8th, 2020 from an undisclosed location, which we presume is probably Georgia, perhaps Florida. What we do know for sure is it's Chris Jericho and Tony Schiavone on commentary, but first, got Jake the Snake Roberts. He's sitting in a very uncomfortable looking chair as he's putting his man Lance Archer over and asking Cody Rhodes a couple of questions through the screen, saying, would you stand in front of a train? Would you jump in the fire? Would you get in the ring with Lance Archer? He's not only talking about Cody Rhodes, he's talking about basically anybody who would step in the ring. And he mentions Marco's stunt, which I thought was pretty cool because you got Jake the Snake Roberts talking about somebody who is very new to AEW, just in wrestling on this level of Marco Stunt. Like, he mentioned him, and that was really cool. He could have just completely ignored him, but you see, Marco Stunt is a star that they need to make, and yeah, Marco Stunt got his ass kicked on the last episode and all, but you don't want to just bury him, you don't want to just beat him and just don't bring him up. So I thought it was cool he brought him up. But he did say that he was dumb enough to fight him, and that's what happens. But no, Jake, it's because he had heart. It's because he wanted to take that opportunity. Even if, the chances were pretty low, he still went for it. And yes, Lance Archer, he is someone that we better be on the lookout for. I did notice Danny Jordan was in the crowd, and they later mentioned her on commentary, which is cool. I actually did 2 years ago, impromptu photo shoot with her. I didn't even have all my equipment with me, but she was going to WrestleMania that weekend, and she wanted some promo pics. I sent them to her, so it's possible, not for sure, but some of my promo pics might have been used on WrestleMania weekend, and just the thought of that, it just warmed my heart. Anyways, Murder Hawk, Lance Archer is taking on Alan Angels, who is another independent wrestling talent from that Georgia area that is awesome. I don't know how he's not already signed, but it was really cool to see him here. Apparently, he was the dumb one in taking on Lance Archer, but like I said, it's about opportunities, is it not? So, it's this right here, but Blackout and Lance Archer wins. It wasn't a complete and total squash, but in a lot of ways it was. It was a showcase of Lance Archer and his destructive abilities. So next up we got Britt Baker taking on Hikaru Shida, or as the announcer says, what does she say? Like, Hikaru Shida. Can't even do it. It has like this southern twang, but a southern twang that I can't do, so I don't know. It blew my mind. I was trying to do it here at my house. I'm sure my neighbors were thinking, what is wrong with this guy? Because I kept going, Shida. I just couldn't get it down, and I still can't. So, it's tragic. Chris Jericho doesn't realize that Excalibur is no longer on commentary permanently, or at least that's what I was under the impression of. Maybe Chris Jericho knows a little more than I do, but the last time I saw on social media, he was a part of the Death Triangle, which is now the Death Squares? Square to Death? Wait, was that an April Fool's joke? I'm going to have to go back and look, because I might have been fooled and didn't even know it. Okay, but Britt Baker, she gets a busted nose on this one. So you talking about some hard shots coming in here. She got her nose busted for real, and the referee was putting on his gloves, but Britt Baker tried to take one of the gloves away from the ref, and the ref let her? I don't know, but she couldn't get the bloody glove on. It was kind of, I don't know what the point of that was. Oh, and speaking of bloody gloves, if you looked at Chris Jericho early on, he was totally wearing the O.J. Simpson gloves. I mean, it was just weird. Like when O.J. Simpson, you know the gloves I'm talking about, the one where he would be doing commentary like Chris Jericho is for football. I wasn't alive then, but I saw the archival footage. It's iconic and stuff. Where was I? She dumps Baker on the padded top of the turnbuckle on the ring, which the pads on there look so comfy. I don't think I would mind landing on that. It looked softer. It looked like a softer landing than actually being in the ring. But apparently, enough damage had been done at that point, because Shida knees Britt in the face, in her bloody face, and Shida ends up being the winner of this match. It was a good match. I actually liked that quite a bit. So, Britt Baker, it looked pretty nasty. Chris Jericho at one point actually was trying to distinguish what type of injury it was by the tint of the blood, which I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not how medicine or the medical field works up in those medical facilities. Now we have a backstage or back lot video. You have Omega and his friend Michael Nakazawa in a trailer, like an RV kind of thing. So they're talking about what they should call their tag team, and I'm thinking, whoa, hold on. I know you guys are friends and everything, but isn't Omega tag team champions with Hangman Page? And where is Hangman Page? He's at home editing Dynamite intros and putting them on Instagram. Like, what is he doing? But he's not there. They're discussing what they should call their tag team, and Michael Nakazawa thinks that they should name themselves like the Real Best Friends or something. And then out of the bathroom comes Orange Cassidy. I don't know why Orange Cassidy was hanging out in the bathroom, but I guess that was the logic. Hopefully he didn't appear. I've seen a lot of disappearances and appearances in wrestling lately, and I can't say that I like it, but I have been seeing an increase. It's on the charts. It's getting off the charts. It's getting crazy. But he comes out and opens the door and lets the Best Friends, the tag team called the Best Friends, come in the room. And they're all like, oh no, y'all can't use our name. I can't believe y'all are trying to lift off of me. So they're upset about that, so they're going to have a match tonight. I don't know if the match is about whether they should call themselves the Best Friends or not, or they're just having a match because Michael Nakazawa was trying to name them the Best Friends. Normally I wouldn't be confused, but at first Omega was very serious about how that name would be stupid, but by the end of the segment, he was being kind of serious when he was like, well, I guess we got to have a match now because of this name dispute. We got to figure these things out. So I just thought that was weird. Sometimes Kenny Omega, like his comedy, like it doesn't have a consistent flow. I just don't understand. How can you go from serious on the subject to not serious? Is that the joke? There's too many jokes on top of jokes. Anyways, where does all this go? It's going to go to a match, but first they show the AEW rankings, which I'm like, do they actually go by that? I mean, I just feel like sometimes people get title opportunities for no reason, and sometimes they are just like, let's put everybody in the whole tag division in a match, and then we'll have a number one contendership match off of that. Forget rankings. You know what I'm saying? Rankings should matter, is what I mean. But they don't. Video on Hager and Moxley. This about their match next week. So this is mostly footage from Jake Hager's gym and him working out, which is totally fine. I think it did well to show his personality and show how intimidating he is and how serious he is, and showing his wife, who is way too good to not be in professional wrestling. She just has a natural knack for being a bad guy wrestler kind of person. Like, she could be a manager. You know, you could put her in some videos, it'd be entertaining. I mean, shoot. They put the Miz's dad in things, so, you know, come on. I think we can do that. I think we can make it happen. We can make it happen. They have to have less matches because they can only record so many matches, right? So wrestling has been trying to find the balance recently on how much of the matches do we have to put on the show versus how many other segments and video packages. Like, what is the correct level? At what point should we find the balance of what people are going to enjoy as far as the way it's spaced out on your little pie chart? I think AEW is getting closer and closer to finding that right magical balance, the formula, the recipe that makes the show work, given the circumstances. And I think WWE has done a pretty poor job of making an interesting, compelling show that you can watch and not come to a point where you feel like they're showing a replay of a match from last night. Why do I want to watch this? Which is what they did on Raw after WrestleMania. Yeah, I think that they found a better balance. I mean, if people are fans of wrestling, are you telling me that people missed WrestleMania and then they went back to Raw to rewatch a match that they just saw? No. They've already seen that match, and a lot of people likely, no matter how great it was, don't want to just sit there and watch it again. They can go do something else. Been there, done that. So, okay. But this was a good balance so far. I was liking it. It was working. Okay, so best friends with Orange Cassidy versus Kenny Omega, one half of the tag team champions, and Michael Nakazawa, his oily friend. Michael Nakazawa, he baby oils himself up to the point where chops are ineffective. I'm pretty sure that's not the way it works, but I've never oiled myself up to the point where I felt like chops would slide off of me and then I allowed someone to chop me. So maybe there's some laws in physics I'm just not that aware of. But this seems to work. It displaces the chops. The comedy in this match is just out of freaking control here. Yeah, there's a lot of people getting kicked in the balls or rammed into the balls, drug into the balls. A lot of ball shots happening during this match. For whatever reason, they don't cause disqualifications. The referee did not notice it. Okay, well, that's what happened. And Cassidy is in the ring for whatever reason. And then Omega and Michael Nakazawa decide that they're going to hug him? Or were they going to clothesline him? It was hard to tell. Because I don't know if they were trying to be serious or not. What are they doing? But for some reason, Orange Cassidy, being the freshly squeezed, apparently that orange was slippier than normal, probably because of all the baby oil in the ring. He slips out of the way as Michael Nakazawa and Omega come in for the hug, and they end up missing him. What? That doesn't even make sense. They couldn't just stop walking? Okay. Yeah. Because Cassidy moved out of the way, slow as a sloth. But they still end up running into each other. It just didn't make sense. Cassidy takes off his glasses later on, and I think it was Nakazawa took his glasses away, but wait, Orange Cassidy has an extra pair of the exact same glasses and puts them on. So yeah, we're not going to stop with all this craziness, are we? Jericho describes this silliness as a different style of wrestling. Yeah, he's right about that. Michael Nakazawa takes his underwear off? Yeah, and he puts it in the mouth of one of the guys, puts it in, and then he ends up accidentally putting it in the face of his own partner. I think he put it in Trent's face, and then Jericho is saying, "He's gonna puke! Look at him! He's gonna puke!" Just like Vince McMahon in Beyond the Mat. So, I guess Jericho's just jumping in on this entire mockery. It's like a parody of wrestling. People have their own likes, and I prefer wrestling to be more serious. And I think that that's the way it should be presented. Now, I am completely okay with other companies that want to come in and do something different, like Lucha Underground, or like back in the 80s you had Glow. I'm okay with that. But in the past, comedy wrestling like this was in the minority, and the majority of everything that you saw was serious, and everything else was like, yeah, that's the other stuff. But it seems like those things are shifting these days. So, Trent, he ends up pinning Michael because you can't pin the tag champion. So Trent wins, best friends win. Whatever the stipulations or the rules actually were, the best friends get to continue to be the best friends, and it looks like Michael Nakazawa and Omega will have to come up with another name. Maybe they won't need to come up with another name because, I mean, come on. Kenny Omega has his own tag team partner and tag team champion in Hangman Page. So yeah, we got Brody Lee. He's with the Dark Order, and man, I was right. Brody Lee is just supposed to be Vince McMahon. They are making fun of Vince McMahon. He says perception is reality, and he's basically saying when you're on a trip, you don't want to look like a fan. So he points to one of the Dark Order, doesn't even give a name or a number. Not even numbers now, they're just dudes. They're either the dude who dresses up and looks professional like Vince McMahon would like, or you're the dude who doesn't. So I have this theory that basically this is Vince McMahon, and these masked guys are a representation of potential wrestlers. So Vince McMahon, Brody Lee, is looking at these wrestlers, and they're just nameless, faceless guys. And, oh, well, you're the one wearing the suit. Well, I believe that wearing a suit makes you stand out, which, I mean, it's true. Vince McMahon, he's right about that. If you dress up, if you look professional, then people are going to perceive you as professional. If you dress like a bum, people are going to look at you like a bum. I mean, this is basic, just the way people are. So he's Brody Lee, Vince McMahon, whatever. He's not wrong. So he's doing that. So it's weird because what he's saying is true, but they're also making fun of Vince McMahon. But they're not making fun of Vince McMahon saying that that's wrong, even though they are. It's weird because Brody Lee does look more professional dressed up in a suit, but at the same time he's making fun of it. It's just weird, and that's what wrestling is doing these days with Matt Hardy and what Chris Jericho does, and what they're doing with the Fiend. It's bizarre, but that's the turn that wrestling has been making over the past couple of years, and we're just seeing it become more common these days. It is Britt Baker. She does a little promo, and she's bloody. I typoed on my own writing. What is wrong with me? A bloody Britt Baker doing a promo. And I like this promo because it felt authentic, because she was hit in the face. She looked like she was hurt. And she's like, yeah, she hit me in the nose, whatever. If she hit me in the teeth, that would have been a problem. Oh, well, she hit me in the teeth, whatever. I'm a dentist. I'd fix it because I'm a dentist. So, I actually liked it. It felt more authentic and real, so I like it. Matt Hardy's doing a promo. He's in his warehouse, and he's asking his drone to bring him his shirt. It's the wrong shirt. It's Matt Hardy's new shirt. So that was smart of Matt Hardy to put over his own shirt on there, but they were burning Chris Jericho's shirt, which was basically the invitation for the drone to join the Dark Order, or to join the Inner Circle, I'm sorry. One ridiculous story for another ridiculous story. So that's basically him saying in a nutshell that he's not going to join the Inner Circle. So I get it. They have to do creative, innovative, weird, bizarre things because they can't really have these guys cutting promos on each other, with each other, but they're using environmental, physical objects that they can send back and forth. So they're still interacting. They're still as if they're in the same room, but they're worlds apart. It's really weird, but it's pretty smart. It's really, I got to give them props for that, because they could just have two screens and these guys talking to each other, but it just wouldn't feel as human. So I like it. I like that part of it, I'll say that. But apparently also Matt Hardy can understand robots. He can understand robot beeps and boops. But I guess Matt Hardy's crazy. Maybe he's not actually supposed to understand. Well, maybe he's understanding the beeps and boops. But in reality, he's really just understanding what was conveyed in the message. Here's the shirt. But wait, that would mean that the drone is aware, and it's cognitive of its surroundings, and it's actually alive. So, yeah, that can't be right. Anyways, we got Lee Johnson, who is apparently an independent wrestler from the area, and he looked way too happy to be on AEW. He comes out and takes on Brody Lee, who looks like Kane and Test took their gear and combined them together. And that only puts in more into my head that this is supposed to be making fun of Vince, almost in a way where this big, huge Brody Lee guy is being presented as Vince McMahon tells everyone they should be presented. Dress up nice, whatever. And now even his gear, it's like just this mix mash of this is what a big man in WWE should look like, even though they're in AEW. I could be reading way too into this, but I'm seeing too many connections, and I'm going to keep going down that path until I start seeing evidence that shows that that's not true. I'm going to keep diving down that hole. The Brody Lee hole. Yeah, that sounds like a place I don't want to be. It sounds like a dark place. Although Brody did do an Eddie Guerrero roll, which would make me think that that's not something a big man would do. So, hey, there's some evidence there against it. But Brody Lee, he dominates and destroys this guy. I really don't know why he did that little roll. It almost doesn't even make sense. But yeah, he totally demolished that guy. Next up, we have a Cody and Shawn Spears video package. I like this one as well. I thought it was well produced, thought it was well put together, so props to them for that. Now it's time for the quarterfinals for the TNT Championship. Why are they doing the championship thing? Maybe they're just... I think that they are doing this TNT Championship thing as a way to be like, see, look what good boys we are, TNT. I know we can't give you our regular content, but... damn it, we really care about you guys. Look, we got a TNT Championship. Maybe you can write an article about us. We can get on your website. You can post about us on social media, and we can get brownie points with you. Hey, maybe in the future you can use that as a leveraging tactic for re-signing. We can't use this footage. It's called the TNT Championship. Of course we want to stay here. I don't know, maybe that could work against them, because if they'd be like, hey, we can't pay you as much, and they'd be like, dang it, we're going to have to sign, because what are we going to do with this footage? Spears versus Cody, and Brandi's there. Brandi, of course she's there because she's Cody's husband. She is Cody's wife, actually. So, Brandi always finds herself away on the show. I know people have made fun of her because it's like she has just always found a way. She'll get on any group, whatever she's got to do. But hey, you got to look at it like as a wrestler, as a performer. If you're not getting on TV and you're not finding a way to get on TV, then guess what? You're not on TV. And that's very simple. But think about it. You ain't on TV, your face ain't getting seen, and you might just start fading away. That's not a good look. It's not a good look for anyone. You want to sell your junk? You gotta be there. And you gotta be seen. But Marco and Danny Jordan, they are reacting. They're out there. Yeah, they unleg the rail, the guardrail. and put it up against the ring, and Cody gets dropped on it. And Chris Jericho was really putting over the fact that Cody hit the back of his heel on there. And I like that. I think he was being honest on that. But I like the fact that Chris Jericho could put in his years of wrestling experience to be like, hey, that hurt especially bad. I mean, yeah, he got dropped on the thing and everything, but not only that, he even landed wrong for landing on a guardrail. And that kind of stuff is great stuff because it puts over how impactful the match is and how much it matters and how much that freaking hurt. Anyways, Cody hits Spears with the belt. Is it not a no disqualification? If it's not, they're setting a bad precedence for what this championship means in the future. Anyways, he throws the belt like a boss, and it's very smart to take the belt off and throw it. I know that there's no fans there, but it cements in any fan's mind who's in the crowd that if this man is willing to take this expensive belt off and throw it in the crowd, then you're like, this guy's awesome. Because that's not cheap. Throwing a t-shirt in the crowd is one thing. Throwing something expensive in the crowd, it just shows everyone what a fucking boss you are. Cody gets put through a table, but somehow he wins. This man puts on a deep figure four and pins Shawn Spears? How does that work? You would think you'd be writhing in pain. You'd be like, ow, this hurts. Shoulders off the mat, but that is not what happened. He was just like, literally like this. I'm in pain. Ah, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I lost. That doesn't even make sense. But that's how they did it. And that was AEW. I hope you enjoyed it. A weird ending to be sure, but until next time, I will catch you guys next time.